Welcome to Food Travelers. In this episode, we are actually heading over to the Coquitlam area in Vancouver, BC, to a place called Makchang Dodook. It's a Korean barbecue place with this prison theme. Really interesting place, and I really enjoyed our visit here, Micah.
Yeah, Simon. So this location is a new location in the Vancouver area, and their opening hours is 11:30 to 3 p.m. and I think they're closed for about an hour or so, and open again for dinner at 4:30 to 10:30 p.m. and they are open daily. And from what I gather from coming to this restaurant is the payment is by card only, so they don't take cash. It's a cashless system. I really do enjoy this jail-themed restaurant. It was pretty interesting, especially coming through the border, and the border police was asking, "What are you coming here for?" And say, "Oh, I want to come check out this jail-themed restaurant." And the door's still closed, so it's really cool. You have the actual true jail cell experience if you've never experienced jail, and I think everything is really fitting. And they do have a lot of different options, and you do have all your Korean style experience where you have the push button to call the servers. All the hoods are movable so that it can get all the barbecue smoke away, so that you don't smell like Korean barbecue at the end of the meal.
Yeah, one of the things that with restaurants, the way you kind of design something, it can be a gimmick, and the thing is you want to stick out, so it's understandable that you want to do something that kind of puts you kind of extra. But one of the things I really enjoyed, Micah, was that they had that aspect of it, which was cool, and you kind of saw all those little pieces, and it was interesting to look at while you're there dining. But one of the things that I thought was, in addition to having this concept that was really nice and interesting to look at, food was great. I really enjoyed our time here, and the things that we had, and the things we tried, and the things that we did eat. And as you know, we do love our Kbbq, and we visit quite a few restaurants, including here in the States, as well as our trips that we visit to Korea and had barbecue over there as well. And so I was really happy with this place.
Yeah, so starting off here, some of the items that we did get was this chestnut rice wine. It's also called makgeolli. I'm not the best at pronunciation, but I think that's how you say it. Some of the other items that we got here was we had the samset, the vegetables. We had fried dumplings. We had pasta salad. We had this fluffy steamed egg with cheese, and I thought that was really great. It was also very different from a lot of fluffy steamed egg that we normally get, because usually it's not made with cheese, especially on top. And for the entrees that we got is we didn't go with a set menu because we knew exactly what we wanted. I think a set menu is great if you are not really sure if you want to go more on the pork side or more on the beef side. For us, we had the garlic seasoned ribs, we had the boneless short ribs, and then we had the spicy makchang, which is the intestines, and then also the fresh pork belly.
Yeah, we had a good variety. One of the things with the set menus, Micah, I noticed was that it kind of catered more to certain meats. So you kind of have a pork set menu, there was a beef set menu, and one of the things that we wanted, or at least me at the time in my head, was thinking that I wanted kind of a mix to try a little bit of both. So that's why we ended up just kind of ordering individual meats to kind of come together, because we wanted to try different things. But overall, Micah, the one thing I really noticed was the freshness of the ingredients. They were really good in terms of just, you can tell as they brought over the plates, and as you can see as we're shooting the meats, that they were really, really fresh. And so I really did appreciate that. I liked that a lot, and you can kind of tell as they were cooking through. Something also, Micah, that just stood out was just the service. We kind of had we came in for lunch, and so we were we were actually the first people who were in there, and for us, at least from what I noticed, the service was great. We had both servers who came in, and they actually prepared everything. They brought everything for us, and they were wonderful. I really enjoyed their service. It just really was great service, and there's nothing more I can say other than it was great service.
Yeah, I totally agree. The service was top notch. I can't ask for better service there. From the beginning, like putting everything down, asking us if we needed more time to look through the menu, from like recommendations, and also kind of explaining the process of their cooking. First, they check the temperature with their hands to make sure that it was hot enough first before they put down the oil. Then they started off with the beef, and they said with this boneless short rib, this was the higher grade meat, so they wanted to cook the higher end stuff first. Because as you know, like when you're eating Korean barbecue, the grill will get charcoaled or darkened over time as you cook more on it, and so you obviously want to cook the higher end quality stuff first. And that was also great. And another appreciation thing that I enjoyed with this surfer was he actually asked us, how do we like our meat? Do we want it more medium rare, or we want it well done? So that was always great to have, because sometimes they don't ask you, they just assume that you just want it well done, and then they cook it too much.
Yeah, and one of the things I noticed, Micah, was if you actually notice how they set up the plate of the meats, they were actually they put it in order in the order in which they were cooking it. So you can actually see they started with the beef in the end, and if you actually notice at the very end, the other side of the dish, the rectangular dish that we had, was the Gopchang, or the spicy intestines. And so you actually moved along, and so that was something pretty interesting, because if you weren't paying attention, you could actually just put the meats anywhere, and you kind of, as a server, go in and cook whichever meats as you kind of go along. But I thought that was interesting. So it was just that little tiny aspect, a little detail that actually kind of helped. And kind of going back to the makgeolli, Micah, the chestnut makgeolli, that was actually a local makgeolli from a local company that was in the Vancouver BC area. And so when we were discussing, they actually had both, one that they were imported from Korea and one that was local. And we kind of asked them, okay, which one should we get? Which one would you recommend? And they wanted to support the local, so they said, yeah, you should try the local one, and which we did. It was very good. I myself personally enjoy makgeolli. I think it's very delicious. With the chestnut flavor, you kind of get a little bit more sweetness than if you get with the original, and so that's something that to consider if you are a person who really likes more sweetness to their alcoholic drinks. That was probably something that you might prefer. If you want a little bit less sweetness, probably with the original makgeolli.
Yeah, I agree. I think the chestnut was a good flavor. I also appreciate that they support local business. It's always great to support your local business and get all your local ingredients from the local businesses. Another thing I wanted to mention was with that first beef, the texture of it was so fresh and it was so good that it pretty much just like melted in your mouth the moment you put it in your mouth. And with that salt, I think that was like a good combination, that you got to dip into it and you can add as much or a little bit of salt as you wanted. So I think that was something to watch for and try if you're coming to this restaurant.
Yeah, I completely agree. Early on, as you see the meat, there were the beef as it was getting cooked, you could see the marbleization on it, and it was really nicely marbled. And you really didn't want to cover up the flavor of the beef too much. So as it was grilling, and once it was done to whatever range of doneness, I guess you say you wanted, you could actually take that piece and just slightly dip it in the salt, put it in your mouth, and it was just absolutely delicious. And kind of going back, like if you didn't even notice the small details, even with the egg souffle that was there, like the cheese, as you mentioned, it added a nice saltiness and creaminess to the egg souffle as you ate it. But if you didn't notice as well, but I kind of saw as I looked a little bit further on with our videos and the little clips that we had, was they actually put the cheese in the center, and they kind of made it like it was a over easy egg. So it just the yolk was kind of broken as if it was yolk in the middle and then the white edges outside. But just that small little details makes it a little bit interesting, because you could just sprinkle it and make it look like there's cheese on top, but in this case they actually made it look like it's a fried egg, even though it's a souffled egg.
Yeah, you're right. The little details here and there makes the whole experience very different. So some of the drinks that we got here was blue Kbbq. I believe the other one is raspberry, and they're both pretty good. They're non-alcoholic drinks, so those are nice touches that they offer here at this restaurant. Another thing I want to mention was, I feel like the pork belly, going back to that one, I feel like the fresh pork belly is different taste from like the frozen ones that you may get in different Korean barbecue restaurants, where it doesn't, you don't have to cook it like all the way until it's like dark brown, and you got like this nice texture to it when you're chewing down onto it.
Yeah, I agree with that one as well, Micah. You know, we've been to so many barbecue places, and you can kind of have that idea when you kind of get that frozen belly, pork belly, and then it kind of thaws out. You know, there's just a different process that kind of occurs with the meat that kind of makes it a little bit different than when you get something fresh. To me, this actually reminded me more closer to the kind of the texture and kind of more the flavor you kind of get when we were in Jeju Island over in South Korea, getting that barbecue. That same kind of texture you get from the fresh pork belly does really, at least in my opinion, make a big difference when you're getting that chew, and when you're kind of biting in and eating with the whatever sauce you're putting in with, and especially with the lettuce. Yeah, it's something where it can seem like subtle, but then it actually isn't when you kind of start to eat it more often, and you kind of get that comparison between the bites in which you have between kind of similar products. But in this case, you can tell with the fresh one, that's something that makes it a little bit better than other places who kind of grab that frozen pork belly and let it thaw out.
And then moving on to the last dish here, the spicy pork intestines. What I really appreciated is before they started cooking this, they actually changed out the grill, so you had the fresh one, and they were able to cook it fresh on there. I thought that was a great touch by them. Oftentimes, sometimes you do have to ask them and request that you change out the grill before they cook a new meat, especially if you have different flavors on there. And this one being marinated already, you do want a fresh one so that everything tastes the way it's supposed to taste.
Yeah, gopchang is one of my favorites to eat. It's just, I find it absolutely delicious. One of the things that I really do enjoy about gopchang is as you cook it, the kind of the outer skin of the intestine, it'll crisp up and get really crispy. I think one of the things that I kind of hoped, and I can't say it would be absolutely better, but I feel like it would have actually enhanced it a bit more, was if they were able to put like the sauce kind of in a tin cup and let it kind of heat up on the grill, and then just have the gopchang itself grill without having the sauce already on it, and that would actually help keep kind of it more dry, so it'll be able to kind of crisp up that intestine more. And then as it crisps up and it cooks, and then when it's finished, you can actually take it and dip it into the sauce and take that bite. The gopchang is delicious and the sauce is delicious, so I did enjoy it, but I think that kind of difference in if you were able to barbecue it that way, I would have kind of enhanced the texture even more, and at least for me, for my preference, it would have add that little crispiness to the outside of the gopchang that I always found absolutely delicious as you kind of eat it.
Yeah, so overall the restaurant is really delicious. It had a really great service, and in the end, as they gave us our bill, they also gave us the souvenirs to take home with us, just to have I guess a remembering of our fun experience there.
Yeah, definitely, if you have the chance, we do recommend coming here. The prison theme is a fun thing to be around, but it's not just a gimmick because they have great food. And to wrap up our episode is our notables. And for our notables in this episode, it is pretty much the entire restaurant, the freshness of the food and everything they offered, the establishment itself, not a gimmick in terms of what they're offering, because the food was absolutely delicious, which is something you want from a new restaurant. So definitely come and try this place. And Micah, what did you think?
Just from the jail theme all the way down to the little details that was offered, from the egg and from all the beef and all the meats in general, I really enjoyed this restaurant. I think everything was really great in terms of the service and the quality of the meats. So if you do get a chance to come to this restaurant, definitely come to this one.
If you've enjoyed the content you've seen, don't forget to support the channel and hit like and subscribe. And if you want to see additional pictures of food and our travels, go over to our Instagram page and follow us there. And thanks for watching.